Hello, Truth Trap fam. Welcome to another episode. We are talking about all things book release week. I intended for this book to be live on Amazon on my birthday. However, sometimes things just don't go according to plan and you have to just roll with it. And so it came out 2 days after my birthday, and when I opened the Amazon link, I had so many feelings seeing my book on Amazon. Because here's the thing, I've been writing for a really long time. I've been journaling since middle school. I remember my mom buying me journals all the time because I would just write. I journaled almost every single day for years and years and years. The amount of journals that I have in a box somewhere is astounding. It's astounding. But here's the cool thing about journaling is you have this raw documentation of years of things that you've gone through, thoughts that you've had, dreams that you have. And I would say every 3 or 4 years, I'll bust out the journals and I'll just kind of take some time to read them. And it's really cool because you're able to see how far you've come and how much you've grown into or out of, even so. And so for me, this book, a lot of this book, I would say 85% of this book was directly taken out of just journal entries and notes on my phone and voice recordings of me just processing things. And so this is a very, 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 very personal, obviously it's my story, on how, I stayed too long and I left anyways. And it's just to me, I feel a very raw, vulnerable, beautiful piece of work that I put out to share with you guys. And so, the response that I've gotten has just been so overwhelming in the best way. I've had so many phone calls, DMs, texts of people being I can't believe you finally did it. You've been talking about doing this book for so long and you've been writing. I've been writing on a professional-ish level for over a decade. I've blogged and I've, partnered with different newsletters over the years for different subject matters. And, I have other books that are just sitting on my drive waiting to be released to the universe. And so for me, writing in this space has been something that I've been working on behind the scenes for a while, but seeing your book out there for people to legit buy on their Kindles or get mailed to their homes and have sitting on their bookshelves is so surreal. And so the outpouring of just encouragement and love has just really been super cool. Obviously, I can officially say that I'm an author, which has been a dream of mine for a really, really long time. My mom has been the biggest advocate for me finally publishing something. I can't even tell you how many countless times she read blogs and newsletters and journals, that I had put work out for and been seriously, you need to put this stuff in a legit book and people need this. And I'm I know, Mom, maybe one day. And then years would go by, because it's very, even when I started the podcast last year, I remember sharing that it's just a very weird, interesting, vulnerable thing, putting things out there for other people to hear or read. And you don't have control about their responses. You don't have the control about what people say. And for me, up until this point, people's opinions and reactions is something that I didn't take lightly. And not that I don't take it lightly now, but it's just different. I was so concerned about, well, what are people going to think? What is the narrative? And the reality is people's responses or their take on things is like not my problem. Like their whatever is like, it's just not something for me to hold on to. So the more that I've been putting content out, the more that I've been exposing, I guess is a good word, exposing myself to opinions and comments and different things, both positive and negative. I've dealt with a lot of that. Set me up for releasing this book, because truly, like, I don't care what anyone has to say. I am so proud of this book. I am so proud of the honesty and the encouragement, the challenge aspect, the journal prompts, the internal pushback that it's not just one person, it takes two people to get to a place. But like, how are you taking responsibility for your piece? Because if you know me, you know, like, I'm really big about like taking ownership, taking responsibility, and then like changing patterns. And so I'm just really proud of this. And I feel like it's been so well received. And I'm not saying that over the course of time, there's probably not going to be Karens and negative Nancys that have things to say. That is par for the core. That just goes with putting things out there for other people to have feedback on. And it just is what it is. I'm not gonna lose sleep about it, because I know that this book is going to have more positive impact on people's lives than it's going to have negative like comments that come back to me. And so, I'm super proud. Like, I've even had people been like, I sent the link to a friend because I really feel like this could, encourage them or could give them something to think about, an action plan. And so that was literally my whole hope in this was, yes, it was good for me to get this out. Personally, I just felt like there was so much of my story that hadn't been shared, and or it had been piecemealed out there for other people, to help encourage, whatever the case may be. But to have this book out there for whoever, for you, it's a very beautiful thing. And two, it was cool because the boys know that I do this podcast. They know that like, oh, mommy like journals, and they see me journal and they see my journals back here, and they know that it's like part of just what I do. And when I told them that I, published a book and that I was like officially an author, it feels so weird saying, but I'm just like, I'm so proud of that. Like, that is such a proud accomplishment. But anyways, when I was telling them like, hey, I published a book, and they were so pumped. They were like, oh, what's the book called? And Joe and I like looked at each other, and I was like, it's just about mommy's story and being able to encourage and help other people. Because it's so hard to explain to 10-year-olds, like, choosing yourself and making choices for other people, because you know that their upbringing and their adulthood depends on your choices very early on in their life. Like, it's so complicated and so complex, and they're just still too young to fully understand. And obviously, like, I dedicated this book to them. I also dedicated it to my dad. I want, when they read it, to have their own thoughts and opinions on the book, and I didn't want to really leave any like guessing, like, oh, well, like, she stayed too long and left anyways, like, what does that mean, mom? And so so I wanted them to be able to celebrate this accomplishment with me without deep diving into the actuality of the book, I guess is the best way to say it. And so as a parent, I think it's your number one responsibility to help your kids grow up without being super shielded, and have conversations emotionally and intellectually that match where they are. And the cool thing is the boys and I have started having a lot of those conversations around some subjects that are in this book and things that they're navigating and dealing with, and trying their best to understand at 10 years old. And so, it was really cool. So I got to celebrate that with them, and that was super cool. They're like, well, when are you going to write another book? I'm like, whoa, like, I need to be able to, I need to be able to like live in this moment a little bit. And so yeah, so that was cool. You know, obviously, like I said, I was, you know, definitely nervous about just putting this out there. It's a very vulnerable piece, but yeah, I'm just so excited. And I'm excited too because I finally come to the place where it's okay, and I have found a lot of peace understanding that like I can't manage how people receive the things that I say and the things that I put out, whether it's this book, whether it's social media, whether it's just anything. Like any time you put things out there, there's always going to be an expectation for like negative feedback. And when you're able to find peace in the fact that you can't manage that, you can't control what that's going to look like when it comes back to you. I have found, and then I'd say the last 6, 7, 8 months, I am so much freer with the things that I'm like sharing, the things that I'm putting out there. Because here's the deal, if someone's really bothered by what you're putting out, they're either A, not going to say anything, or B, they're going to care enough to be like, hey, can you shed some light on this? Could you give me perspective? And so those are the people that you want to be concerned about when the time comes. I don't really give a shit about the other people that are in the background making all this silent noise and like posting things and, you know, like just being negative. Like unless you're going to say it to me, I don't give a shit about how anyone feels, like about the content that I post, the things that I'm like, you know, this book, other things that I'm sharing, what I record on this podcast. Like if you can't say it to me, I just really don't have time to care anymore. And so that's also been really freeing. And I think that goes hand in hand with just like timing is everything. Like I feel very strongly that God's timing is everything. There's a lot of things about his timing that I don't understand. You know, there's just a lot of things I don't understand. I don't understand a lot of things. This shit don't make no sense sometimes, but I also trust in like his sovereign timing. Like it's such a weird space for me right now, just with things that happened last year. And obviously the biggest thing being like my dad passing away. It's a very interesting tension that I have found myself in with. I just don't understand so much about his timing, but I also trust so much in his timing. And it's been a very weird space for me to live in as of late, because as much as I don't understand, I also know that just like it's sovereign and it's not always supposed to make sense, but it's something that you're supposed to trust fully in. And I don't know, maybe I'll share more about this when I can put some words behind it and not sound so special trying to communicate it. But I trust the timing that this book has been released exactly when it's supposed to. And I know that to be true because the feedback that I've gotten from people on a very personal level that have been like, I'm currently like living this, and this has exposed so much that I just never thought about. I didn't see it this way. I need to, you know, take an internal look at like how I'm playing a part in this, and if I can save this marriage, like these are things that I'm going to do. And if you know me, even though I am divorced, I'm not an advocate for divorce. Like divorce for me is just not something that I'm like, oh yeah, you should just leave. Like, no, you should make sure you've freaking done everything that you can before you even start thinking those thoughts. And I had felt that way before I got divorced. I felt that way when I was struggling with if this is really what's happening in my life right now. And then after the fact, I've had so many conversations with people that have been like, I'm leaving. And I'm like, are you? Because if I'm being honest, I don't really feel like you've done everything you can do to salvage or save or reconnect with this person. And I have one friend specifically that I had this conversation with, and she was like, I'm thinking about leaving my husband. I think maybe we're going to separate. And she was just, sharing over the course of a while, like different things that were going on. And when she finally brought up, the word divorce, I said, hey, not for nothing, but you've shared a lot of things with me. These aren't really things I feel like are divorce worthy. These are things that we need to have like some honest conversation, maybe some counseling, maybe some date nights. Like there's some chemistry that's missing that maybe if you get back and prioritize one another, you can come back. I feel like this is something you can come back from. They did a little separation. They did some individual and couples counseling, and they are doing better than ever. And when I see stuff like that, it just so encourages me because, did I want to get divorced? No, not really. But that was in the cards, that was in my deck, that at some point it was just like going to happen. Obviously, I trust God's timing. I feel like God knew that this was going to happen. And so we rode the wave, and my life now is, there's just no comparison. Relationally, personally, as a mom, watching the kids grow up, like there is no doubt in my mind that this was not only the best decision for me, but the best decision for the boys. And so, the timing for me is everything. And, I feel like everyone has a story, right? Everyone has a story. We all have things that we've been through. We all have things that I feel like for whatever the reason we go through, but it is for someone else. And, having a ministry background, then obviously being through a lot of things my own self that if you read this book, you'll come to learn about, it's all for someone else. I don't like the fact that I've been through some of the stuff that I've been through and that I had to navigate and walk through those things. And, it was very painful. Some of it was very traumatic. And the reality is it wasn't all just for me. It was for other people. And if I could encourage you with anything, it would be this, that no matter what life throws at you, the whole goal is for you to overcome, be better, and encourage other people in their moments of struggle. I feel very strongly about this. I feel all too often I've seen people walk through things and then they get stuck and they become a victim to those things and they never grow out of it. And then they never are able to use that story to help, encourage, and inspire other people. They just hold on to it as it's their own and no one understands and no one's been, walking, no one's been dealing with this. And here's the truth is me and another person might have the same thing going on, but the details of those things are obviously very different. But there's been millions of people that have gotten divorced, but no one's story is my story, and my story is no one else's story. But we've all been through things that other people can relate to and other people can be encouraged and empowered by. There's been countless conversations that I've had with people. I just shared one where had I not gone through this, obviously, this isn't something I wanted to walk through, but had I not gone through this, it would have been something in my life that I wouldn't have been able to relate to other people while they're walking through it. I feel that way about a lot of things that I've walked through, drug addiction and, relational toxicity and codependency. And there's all these things that, God, no, I didn't want to go through these things. Like, my mom read the book and obviously we've had in-person conversations about a lot of this, but she just shot me a text message, and because she knows a lot of things, but obviously not everyone knows everything. And she was like, sweetheart, I'm so sorry that you had to walk through these things. I'm very proud of, how you've come out of them and how you've grown and just everything that you're doing with your life now. Like, I'm so proud of you. And the truth is no one wants to walk through those things, and no one wants to have to deal with the reality of parts of their story. But if there's one thing that I know to be true, it's that it's not for nothing. I'm a very big believer that every single thing we go through is to help someone else. And so you have a story, and I would challenge you with this is, are you growing from those things so that you can encourage other people and be a voice for other people in a positive manner? Or are you playing victim to those things and building a very toxic mentality around those things? And then here's what happens is people will talk to you about those things, and you'll give them wrong advice and wrong encouragement, discouragement, because you yourself haven't grown out of those things and found healing. And so we all have stories. The way we help other people is dramatically different depending on how you're dealing with those things. And so, I think that the biggest thing for me in this book, and I think just moving forward, is constantly making sure that I'm growing and developing and healing, because there's always going to be things that happen. I mean, I was just talking to my brother the other day, and I'm like, hey bro, not for nothing, but I feel like a real shitty mom right now. Like, I have no patience, and him and I just spent some time processing and talking and relating and encouraging. And I walked away from that conversation understanding that A, I'm not a shitty mom, and B, I don't understand why the things have transpired and why I have to deal with this as a mom with 10-year-olds that are so precious, but also so stubborn and so challenging. And I don't get it. But here's what I do get is I'm not going to hang on to this, I don't know why I have to deal with this, and they're just A, B, C, and D. It's like, no, this sucks. This sucks. As a mom, dealing with this right now, this sucks and it's shitty. However, I'm not going to let it be a defining moment for me, and I'm not going to stay stuck in this for too long and build a negative narrative around how I move forward parenting the boys. I'm just not going to do it. And so, everything is for something, but how you deal and heal and move forward is totally dependent on you. It's totally dependent on me. And so, that's it for today, guys. I just really wanted to talk about all the feelies wrapped around She Stayed Too Long and Left Anyways, how I've celebrated, and just encourage you that you matter, your story matters, and how you come out of your story and of this season of life is very defining, positively or negatively. So that's all I have for you today. Until we meet again, be good, do good, and